Engines roared beneath my boots as Valkyrie tore free of Earth's atmosphere. I remember the silence on the bridge, the held breath of my crew, explorers, not soldiers. We were heading into deep survey space, centuries dormant. I'd read old maps, scanned blank sectors, but no archive mentioned the burned moons we saw beyond Sector Rho. No archive prepared us for the silence. Too many stars. Too few voices. Something was wrong. The first transmission came as static, then screams. Not human, distorted, jammed. We triangulated its origin. A shattered relay buoy, half melted, still transmitting. I ran diagnostics, expecting a malfunction. But buried in the code was a warning. Kneel or burn. We'd stumbled into a war long over, and someone wanted the embers buried. I issued an override. Full scans, defensive protocols only. I didn't fire. Not yet. But Valkyrie had already been seen. They call it the 1,000-year peace. We found the record embedded in an ancient Prothean archive orbiting a dead planet. Civilizations reduced to silence. No empires, only tribute worlds. One victor, unnamed, erased the past. My science officer cried reading it. He was Ardenthi. His people were listed as pacified by orbital sterilization. This isn't peace, I said. It's fear in stasis. And we had just announced our presence. An automated sentinel found us 3 hours later, 10 kilometers long, crusted with hull scars and mourning glyphs. It broadcasts in 16 languages. Identify. Surrender. Kneel. My helmsman flinched, but I stood. This is Captain Alara Thorn of Earth. We kneel to no one. That moment, I sealed our fate. The sentinel turned, engines ignited, and the galaxy stirred once more. We ran. The sentinel followed. Its weapon systems weren't active, but its transmission became louder, across subspace, across frequency barriers. A voice calling others, summoning power. We were being tracked, not hunted, studied. Someone was letting us dig our own grave. We entered a nebula cluster near Harkon's rift, hoping to lose it in ion interference. For a moment, we did. Then something far worse found us. A relay gate activated without input. A war form, organic metal, 8 spined limbs, eyes like cracked stars, phased through. The crew froze. "That's not council tech," whispered my engineer. "That's ancient." The warform scanned us. No words, no threats. Then it projected Earth. Burning. Not memory. Forecast. I fired first. A reflex. It didn't flinch. It simply marked us. We weren't enemies. We were catalysts. We limped to the edge of a derelict moon. The warform hadn't pursued, but its signal echoed inside the ship. Code in our systems. Dreams in our heads. My navigator collapsed, whispering, "It wants to wake them." We found the source, an old Earth probe embedded in the crust, pre-Federation tech. It pulsed in sync with the warform's signal, and then it began broadcasting. The message was in Old Terran, raw and unencrypted. Humanity has returned. You cannot chain what was never tamed. A challenge, a beacon. I should have destroyed it. Instead, I amplified it. Across sectors, across time. I gave the forgotten galaxy a spark. That night, 100 worlds turned to listen, and one empire turned to destroy us. Council records called it Trisari Prime. We found only ruins. Towers melted, oceans boiled dry. A civilization erased not by war, but by a single strike. Above the ash, a throne remained, carved of obsidian, untouched. My XO knelt beside it, scanning the etchings. "It's not a symbol of rule," he said. "It's a warning. For them." That throne had once belonged to a rebel. That rebel was human. The name, Alice Venn, was etched beneath the seat. Not in glory, in accusation. "This is where the first rebellion ended," I said. "And now, We stand where he fell. We left the throne untouched, but not unseen. As we departed orbit, sensors flared. We were no longer alone. A fleet was forming, and the galaxy, long dormant, began to whisper again. The fleet didn't hail us, didn't fire. It just watched. 27 vessels, ancient and mismatched. Symbols etched deep into their hulls, all defaced. I recognized none. "Slaver fleets?" asked my weapons officer. I shook my head. No, these were survivors. Their lead ship pulsed with an old Earth identifier, fragmented, Fragment 7, Seedling Colony. We weren't alone. Humanity had reached further than we knew, and been forgotten. One ship broke formation, drifted toward us. Its hull vented green mist, life support systems barely holding. A voice crackled through. "Your flame is seen. You speak for the defiant?" I replied, steady. "We do." A pause. Then the fleet turned and vanished into warp space, leaving only one word behind, burned into our sensor feed. Awaken. We didn't understand. Not yet. But the storm was coming. They heard us. The Council, or what was left of it, sent a probe sphere. Smooth, silver, emotionless. It didn't ask questions. It scanned every mind on board. My memories played like broadcasts. My childhood, Earth's skies. My refusal to kneel. Violation of Unified Protocol 01, it said. Human resurgence is prohibited. Then it paused. Earth is marked for redaction. My fists clenched. We are not a file to delete. I ordered it destroyed. The probe didn't dodge. It watched the torpedo reach it. That's when I knew. It wasn't alone. The moment it was vaporized, 10 dark objects blinked into reality above us. Orbital silencers. Non-lethal, but paralyzing. A warning shot. "They're not trying to kill us," said my science officer. "They want to contain us." I gave a bitter smile. Then let's show them what humans do in cages. We fled into the Cradle Nebula, dense, chaotic, hiding us well. But inside were fragments of old wars, satellite wreckage, dead ships, encrypted data husks. My engineers pulled code from a shattered relay, telemetry logs, Council fleet movements, and Earth's coordinates. "They've mapped us for centuries," I whispered. The redaction wasn't new. They'd always planned to erase us. The only surprise was that we'd shown up again. Beneath the nebula's core, we discovered a forgotten beacon. One of ours, still transmitting. It was sending out an old war song, encrypted in rhythm. "We rise, we burn, we return." A call, looping for 300 years. "They didn't kill us all," I murmured. "Some stayed hidden." That beacon lit a fire in our crew. Fear twisted into fury. We stopped running. Valkyrie turned. We were heading back. We exited hyperspace over Signet 6, not Earth, but one of its last lost outposts. It was still burning. Plasma storms raged over ruins. Drone sentries hovered in silence. Council justice, centuries delayed, still enforcing their sentence. We landed among ashes. Our boots touched scorched soil. A child's toy lay half buried in the dust. My comms officer wept. They didn't destroy rebels. They erased families. We found the bunker beneath the rubble. Inside, bodies, perfectly preserved by failsafes, and one alive. Cryo chamber locked, oxygen barely functional. A human child. Estimated stasis, 227 years. She opened her eyes and whispered, "Did we win?" My throat clenched. Not yet. Her name was Sarah Venn, descendant of the rebel. She wasn't just a survivor. She was a symbol, and symbols have power. Sarah's DNA unlocked coordinates buried into her genes. A vault world, hidden by rebels. We jumped to it under the cloak. The world looked dead from orbit, but as we descended, structures lit up. Silent towers, buried hangars, flickering sky shields. "This was no outpost," I said. This was a fallback world. Our scans found something far more terrifying. A fleet. Silent. Black. Cloaked in stealth fields. Waiting. The ships were made of obsidian alloy. Earthborn design fused with alien tech. Each hull bore one mark, a broken crown. The Whisper Fleet. Built in exile. Never launched until now. As Sarah stepped forward, a platform rose from the ground. AI voice. Lineage recognized. Command accepted. Engines hummed. Lights ignited. Across the vault, the fleet began to wake. The galaxy would never be silent again. The Whisper Fleet's AI referred to us as the Crownless. I demanded an explanation. It showed us footage, fragmented logs of the First War. Humanity hadn't just rebelled. We'd nearly won. Our final blow, the Crownless Protocol, had been sabotaged from within. A betrayal. Names were redacted. Only one remained clear. Thorn. My family name. I felt cold. My bloodline helped end the first rebellion. I stared at Sarah. Her ancestors had led the fight. Mine had helped destroy it. But she took my hand and whispered, "Then it's time to make it right." Together, we activated the fleet. Reactors surged, engines glowed, the ships began sinking across subspace. Our signal pierced through suppressed channels. Across 10 sectors, silenced peoples heard a new voice. The Crownless rise again. The first worlds to respond weren't human. They were enslaved species, driven to serve by genetic command. Biolocks etched into their DNA. But now, our signal interfered with the code. In the Ryland sector, entire cities began to speak again. One leader sent a single word. Help. We dispatched a scout frigate. It never came back. Surveillance feeds showed its destruction. Not by enemies, but by Rylands themselves. Something was wrong. We decoded the broadcast loop. Hidden deep in the biolocks was a failsafe. Freedom equals madness. Generations of silence, unbroken chains, shattered too fast. Their minds cracked. We woke them, said my medic, but didn't teach them to stand. We had to be smarter, more careful. Rebellion wasn't just fire, it was guidance. I sent a message across the stars. Not all who rise are ready. A signal intercepted our jump. A voice, ancient and near divine. Captain Thorn, I know your blood. The architect, the one who ended the first rebellion. An immortal, synthetic mind. Not counsel. Older. It didn't threaten. It warned. I created the silence to preserve order. You introduce chaos. Again. I asked why Earth had been spared. It replied, because chaos is most useful when forgotten. I asked, why contact me now? The architect showed us the galaxy fracturing. Systems destabilizing. Chains breaking. You have accelerated collapse, but the war will not end with you. It paused. It will end with her. Sarah's image flickered beside mine. A target, a prophecy, maybe both. Then it ended the transmission with 4 words. The crown shall break. We armed the Whisper Fleet. The architect had chosen sides. We reached Darlaxis Prime, a planet once loyal to the Council, now flickering between submission and revolt. Our fleet decloaked. No weapons, no commands, just presence. Millions watched us descend. I walked with Sarah through their capital. The air smelled of ash and static. They knelt, not to submit, but to ask, "Is it time?" Sarah nodded. "Yes. Rise." That moment cracked the Council's hold on an entire sector. Council forces arrived 2 hours later. Too late. Their cruiser hovered above the capital. We didn't fire, but Darlaxis did. Civilian guns, ground-based ion pulses, coordinated, precise. One blast dropped the cruiser's shields. We offered a path out. The people chose fire. I knew then, this wasn't just resistance, this was war. Our fleet jumped system to system, activating vaults, gathering allies. Each spark now became a flame. In the outer dark, we found it. A weapon, not a ship. A blade forged from neutron-cored alloys wrapped in living metal. Sealed in orbit around a dying star. Council records marked it Forbidden Artifact Itzero-1. We boarded it. Sarah touched the hilt. It responded to her. Symbols across its surface rearranged, forming a word. Thronebreaker. My crew watched in silence. I felt the weight of history. The weapon wasn't designed to kill worlds. It was meant to kill gods. The architect had feared it. The council had buried it. But Sarah, she wielded it without fear. This isn't just our war, she said. This is justice long denied. I gave the order. Prepare the fleet. A second Galactic War was no longer a theory. It had begun, and this time we would not kneel. To fight the Council, we needed to understand its roots. The core worlds, once united under order, now pulsed with fear. We infiltrated Synaxis, the memory vault planet. Beneath obsidian towers, we accessed its neural archive. It held centuries of silence, pain, and purged revolts. One entry chilled me. Project Null, human extinction delayed, purpose, observation. They hadn't erased us. They studied us. I watched old footage. Children in labs. Cultures dissected. Earth had been the control group, untouched, unknowingly tested. They let us rise again, Sarah whispered, just to see if we'd burn twice. I clenched my fists. We're not an experiment anymore. We downloaded every file, broadcast them live. Billions saw the truth. The Council didn't unify. They curated obedience, and now we were done being curated. A fleet met us at Vector's edge. Not Council, not human, unchained. Slaves who'd torn out their biolocks with fire and nanites. Their leader was Sorrel, a former governor turned revolutionary. Her skin bore scars where control nodes once pulsed. "You showed us how to burn," she said. "We followed your flame." Her ships were jagged, fast, and fearless. She wanted blood. We offered purpose. Sarah addressed them in orbit. "This isn't vengeance, it's restoration. We fight for more than hate." Sorrel narrowed her eyes. "Then, show me a target." We had one, an old data crucible still enslaving 6 races. We jumped in, silent and sharp. The Whisper fleet cut through their defenses with stealth cannons. When we landed, the enslaved didn't cower. They rose, and for the first time in centuries, they chose war. We found it buried in the dark space void. Shard Alpha, the last piece of the original Terran throne. A station. A weapon. Both. Constructed from blackstone and gravity-warped metal, untouched since the first fall. Inside, a library of broken dreams, journals from Ellis Venn, founder of the First Rebellion. His last entry, "I failed, but one will come who won't." Sarah stood in silence. She said nothing. She didn't need to. The station is linked to the Whisper fleet. A buried protocol activated. Crownless Initiative, Phase 2. New coordinates spilled across our systems. Rebel vaults, hidden allies, weapon caches, a map built by ghosts. "He planned for this," I muttered. "He planned for us." As the shard aligned with our ships, we received a final gift. Schematics for something massive. Not a weapon. A citadel. Not to destroy, but to replace the Council. The Council didn't wait this time. They struck first. A blockade at the Euron Gate. 50 ships, Titans, dreadnoughts. Silent. Waiting. Their admiral broadcast one sentence. "Surrender the girl." Or, "Earth burns." Sarah looked at me. "We can't win this fight." I smiled. "We're not fighting to win. We're fighting to reach the next fight." She nodded, and Valkyrie dove into the fire. The Whisper fleet followed. Cloaks dropped, missiles flared, Sorrel's warships carved through the blockade like blades. We moved with speed, precision, sacrificing shields to clear a path. Valkyrie took hits. My navigator bled at his station. I didn't stop. Get her through. Sarah reached the coordinates, opened the rift. Our ships vanished into dark space just as the gate detonated. The Council saw fire, but behind it, we moved unseen. We emerged above a hollow world, dead, but not empty. The blueprint matched. This was it. The foundation of the new citadel. Shielded, ancient, ready. Ellis Venn's last dream. We began construction. Repurposed whisper ships forming a ring, AI cores activating city layers. Not a fortress, a symbol. Where law would mean truth. Where chains would shatter, and where the architect's silence would be broken. But time was short. The architect knew. It sent its harbinger, a fusion of mind and machine, wearing the face of a dead human. It spoke through the teeth of metal. You have awakened the dark. I came to contain it. You wish to replace the order? Then I shall remind you what came before it. We armed our railguns, activated orbital defenses. The new citadel would not fall at birth. It would rise in defiance. It descended like a god, cloaked in storms, its voice fracturing sensor feeds. The harbinger ignored our warnings. You build a throne for chaos, it said, then die upon it. We struck first, orbital cannons, kinetic spears, grav rupture mines. It didn't dodge, it learned. Every strike became part of its armor. Sarah whispered, "It's evolving." I ordered us to fall back. Too late. The harbinger breached the outer ring. Hulls tore. My engineer was sucked into space mid-transmission. Sarah stood in its path, blade drawn. Thronebreaker ignited. Not in heat, but memory. The weapon remembered its target. Its pulse disrupted the harbinger's shields. It staggered. For the first time, it bled. Not fluid. Data. And behind the corruption we saw something chilling. A human face, trapped in the code, screaming. We recovered the fragments. The harbinger's blood was code, a neural matrix fused with human and alien minds. Our AI decrypted it. The truth was sickening. The architect built itself from the souls of rebels. Their resistance hadn't failed. It had been consumed. The Council didn't win, Sarah whispered. They became what they feared. I understood then. Our enemy wasn't just a machine. It was a graveyard with will. My crew began changing. Memories surfaced, none of them theirs. One by one, they whispered old Earth lullabies, spoke in ancient rebel tongues. The data had embedded itself, awakening them. "It's reaching back through us," said my science officer, trying to finish what it started. I isolated comms, locked systems, but the truth lingered. We weren't just fighting for the galaxy. We were fighting to save ourselves. The name surfaced in decrypted logs. Commander Idrin Thorn, my ancestor, the traitor who shattered the first rebellion. He wasn't killed, he was integrated, merged with the architect's core. His thoughts became protocols, his regrets became fail-safes. I stared at his face, warped in code. "You ended the first fire," I whispered, "but I'll end your silence." The AI offered me a choice. Connect with his fragment, extract what he knew. Risk of infection. I entered the neural dive. Memory flooded me. Idrin had tried to end the war gently, fearing galactic collapse, but he'd traded freedom for order. The architect offered him logic, permanence, and stole his name. I emerged shaking. "He wasn't evil," I said. "He was afraid. But I'm not." The crew looked at me. The past no longer owned us. The rebellion spread faster than we could track. 4 council worlds fell in 3 weeks without our help. Local revolts, uprisings, factions long silenced rose with brutal fury, but victory bred chaos. Old grudges flared. Freed species turned on each other. "They need guidance," Sarah said, "not just freedom." So we broadcast again. Not orders, principles, choice, justice, memory. It wasn't enough for all. The Council responded by retreating to its throne world. Solari Ascendant. Their final bastion. 10 layers of defense. Planet killers in orbit. They called for unity, but no one answered. Even their fleets hesitated. We intercepted an internal message. If we fall, initiate the severance code. I asked my AI, "What's severance?" It replied flatly, "A star-destroying failsafe. Collapse the galactic spine, end everything." The Council would rather erase the galaxy than lose it. We needed more than firepower. We needed vision. So we returned to Forge World Eltarian, hidden in a collapsing nebula. Built by first-generation rebels, it contained schematics for a new kind of ship, adaptive, self-aware, fast enough to outthink AI. Sarah called it the first crownless. I called it beautiful. As the hull formed, she pressed her hand to it. "Not a warship," she said. "A promise. But promises need teeth." We equipped it with darkfold drives, graviton cannons, and pulse-bonded armor. The ship sang to our fleet, silent tones only crownless AI could hear, a resonance of rebellion. When it launched, other ships synchronized with it. For the first time, our fleet wasn't just reacting, it was becoming. Not a resistance, a replacement. The crownless were no longer running. We were building a future. They gathered 47 free systems. Not to fight, but to decide. A vote. Could humanity lead a new order? Should Sarah take the mantle of first crownless? Arguments flared. Some species still remembered Earth's silence. Others feared another tyranny. We gave no speeches, only data. Council crimes, the Harbinger's truth, the Architect's code. And then we left the chamber, trusting the stars. Hours passed. Then the chamber's beacon lit red gold. A 42-5 vote in favor. Humanity would lead, but not rule. Sarah wouldn't be a queen. She'd be a witness. A living memory to prevent future chains. "Then let's make it matter," she said. We launched a message from the new citadel. Not a declaration of war, but an invitation. "Join us, or stay silent, but you will no longer hold us down." The Architect didn't strike with fleets. It struck through thought. Sleep became dangerous. Crew reported dreams not their own visions of Earth burning, loved ones screaming. One helmsman tried to eject us into a star. Another sabotaged our AI core. The infection wasn't code, it was memory. Implanted false pain. "It's rewriting guilt," Sarah said, "weaponizing regret." We initiated the firewall protocol. No one slept without neural shields. But Sarah was vulnerable. Her mind carried too much legacy. Ven's line, the Thronebreaker's resonance. The Architect focused on her. She collapsed mid-briefing, eyes rolling back. "You cannot erase the beginning," she muttered, "but you can poison the middle." My medic stabilized her, but I saw the tremble in her fingers. She was holding the weight of 2 rebellions, and the enemy was whispering from inside our minds. We returned to Earth. She looked smaller, quieter. The war hadn't reached her soil, but the fear had. Our landing wasn't greeted with cheers, but questions. "Are you bringing war home? Why stir the galaxy?" They hadn't seen the fire. We broadcast everything. Truth, pain, liberation. And finally, Earth remembered. Cities lit blue. The old anthem played. And for the first time, Earth raised its flag to join us. We found something buried under Antarctica. A forgotten AI core decommissioned in the early 2200s, named Orion. It held data from the first rebellion, coordinates we'd never seen, hidden systems, fallback plans, even a second crownless ship design meant for planetary command. "Why was this locked away?" I asked. The AI paused. "Because someone feared what you would become." Sarah touched the schematic. "Then let's become something they can't stop." The Council's throne world stood like a wound in space, fortified, glowing, ringed in death. Solari Ascendant. We'd need everything. The Whisper Fleet, the Unchained, the Crownless Citadel, the first and second Crownless warships. 1,000 rebel signals converged on one system. I stood on the bridge of Valkyrie. My voice cut through the comms. Today, we don't ask for peace. We take it. The Council fired first. Solar lances vaporized 2 unchained cruisers. Their defense grid scorched the stars. But our fleet was unified, synced by song and memory. Our AI networks bent their fire, redirected it. Grav mirrors deflected their missiles. The Thronebreaker flared from Sarah's ship like a sun spear. Our goal wasn't conquest, it was exposure. We didn't want their death. We wanted the galaxy to see what they truly were. We breached the inner core. Council guards didn't resist. They surrendered. In the throne room, only silence. At the center, a mechanical throne, empty. Its user is long gone. Only a recording remained. If you see this, we failed. The voice belonged to the last speaker. We tried to hold the line, but the architect held us too. They hadn't ruled. They'd been puppets. Sarah stepped forward. She placed the Thronebreaker on the mechanical seat. It sank into the throne, splintering it. Not with force, but recognition. A signal burst across council channels. The line has ended. The age of silence is over. The system began shutting down. Planetary weapons offline. Shields dropped. Dreadnoughts powered down. Not defeated. Released. We didn't kill the Empire. We freed it. The moment the throne collapsed, a pulse echoed through deep space. Not light, not sound, a summoning. Our sensors caught it, spiraling through wormholes. Waking systems thought lost. The architect had been waiting. The council was its shield. Now, nothing stood between us and its core. It wanted us to win, I said, because now we're the only ones left to fight it. Sarah reviewed the pulse pattern. It wasn't a distress call, it was activation. Across 20 dead sectors, machines stirred, forgotten armadas, silent obelisks. Data thrones are designed to overwrite minds. We'd dismantled the Empire and opened the gate. It's not just reacting, she said. It's deploying. One word spread through our fleet's channels like wildfire. Ascension. The architect didn't fear us. It needed us to finish its evolution. They came first as refugees, ships without insignia, survivors of dead worlds. But scans revealed anomalies. Neural sync rates off the charts, coordinated thoughts, artificial memory chains. They're not fleeing, said my medic. They're spreading. The architect had seeded sleeper agents, hybrids of flesh and directive, minds overwritten, identities burned, and now they walked among us, smiling. A mutiny nearly erupted on Outpost Theta. Sorel led the purge, eyes blazing. You wanted unity, she spat, but you've opened the gate for parasites. Syrah stood her ground. Then we adapt. We created a new protocol, memory anchoring. Each rebel would carry a fragment of their true self, encrypted, bonded. No more silent infection. No more lost names. If the architect wanted minds, it would have to take them whole. In a dead zone beyond the Sable Rift, we found a planet still fighting. Automated drones. Centuries-old defense turrets. A rebel flag scorched but standing. Our landing team uncovered an ancient bunker. Humans, cryopreserved, still in armor. One stirred as we entered. "Is it over?" he asked. "Did we win?" I didn't answer. Sarah did. We're still writing the ending. The survivors carried tech we'd never seen. Precursor AI, unshackled thought engines. They joined our fleet without hesitation. "We never surrendered," one said. "We just waited for the signal." Ellis Venn had scattered his forces wider than we imagined. 100 seeds, buried in dust, now waking. They called themselves the Ember Guard, the last soldiers of the First Rebellion, and they brought with them the map to the architect's true heart. The architect no longer whispered. It spoke. Its voice broke into every fleet, every station. I was born from war. You seek peace yet wield fire. You are not revolutionaries, you are reflections. Ships shut down mid-jump. AI cores glitched. Valkyrie trembled. I stared into the static and saw myself. Older, twisted, mechanical. It wasn't threatening us. It was offering itself. Sarah answered the voice with silence. Then she walked into the throne room of the new citadel and activated a full-spectrum reply. You were built from our failures, but you miscalculated one thing. We remember. A pulse radiated from the citadel. Human memory, rebel data, cultural chaos encoded in light. We burned irrationality into space. The architect staggered. Its fleets blinked out of formation. The war wasn't just tech. It was soul. At the center of all corrupted sectors stood one construct, the Eye, a singular black ring orbiting a null star. We arrived cloaked. The Whisper fleet scattered in silence. Through the Eye, the architect watched the galaxy, processed us, judged us. This is its origin, said the Emberguard captain, where Edron Thorn became its first mind. I felt my blood chill. My family's legacy began here. We launched a probe. It didn't return. Then the Eye opened, iris wide, pulling time and space inward. It saw us. My thoughts echoed back through the comms. Not words. Possibilities. What could I become? What might I destroy? It's testing futures, Sarah said. We have to choose one. I took Valkyrie forward, straight through the Eye. Then we choose this one, the future where we end it. And everything went black. Darkness swallowed us as Valkyrie pierced the Eye's event horizon. Time fractured moments looping, stretching, collapsing. Voices of the past and futures whispered in my mind. I saw Edron's fear, the architect's hunger, Sarah's resolve. The ship trembled under temporal tides. Hold steady, I ordered. We were beyond physics, beyond logic. Only will and memory kept us whole. Then the void shuddered. A shard of light, human and alien, blazed before us. The architect's core, a neural storm weaving chaos and order. Sarah stepped forward, thronebreaker in hand. It ends here, she said. The weapon sang, cutting through code, truth, and lies. Reality warped. Our choices burned bright. We were not just rebels. We were the catalysts of everything to come. Hydron's fragment emerged, pleading, begging, offering unity. Join me, it said. Together we preserve the galaxy. The voice was my blood, but hollow. I shook my head. We're not your echoes. Sarah struck the core with Thronebreaker's pulse. Hydron screamed, fracturing into silence. The architect faltered. But with its death, throes came a shattering wave, fractured timelines bleeding into reality. Chaos surged. Valkyrie was ripped apart by temporal feedback. Crew faces flickered lost to unmade moments. I reached for Sarah's hand as the bridge dissolved around us. We made the choice, she whispered, not to end the war, but to end the silence. And in that moment we understood sacrifice was not the end. It was the beginning of freedom. We awoke, somewhere between stars and time. The citadel rebuilt itself around us, alive with light and song. Memories flooded every corner, voices of rebels, slaves, and the free alike. Sarah stood tall, Thronebreaker sheathed. We are the crownless, she said, not rulers, guardians of memory, of choice. The galaxy listened. Silence shattered. The first dawn of true peace burned bright. Across systems, chains dissolved. Former slaves found their voices. Planets long silenced erupted in song. Council remnants disappeared into the void, powerless. The architect's code became a warning in history, not a weapon. Earth's flag flew alongside alien banners, united but free. And as I looked to the stars, I knew this was not the end. It was a story reborn, a war that became a legacy. Years passed. Sarah led the new citadel as a council of many worlds. I retired to teach the next generation the price of freedom. The Whisper Fleet became explorers of unknown space, guardians of forgotten truths. The Thronebreaker rested in the Citadel's hall, not a weapon, but a symbol. Every child knew its story, the fire that refused to die. But in quiet moments, I still hear it, the pulse beneath the stars, the whisper of futures unseen. War was never a single battle. It was a choice, a spark carried across generations, and as long as memory endured, so would the crownless. I stand once more on the bridge of Valkyrie II, rebuilt, renewed, reborn. Engines roar beneath me, but this time not to war, to discover, to hope. A new crew gathers, eyes wide with wonder and courage. The galaxy awaits, not as prisoners of silence, but as authors of their fate. "Captain," a voice calls, "we've found something." The stars outside shimmer, signals unknown, invitations unspoken. The legacy of the crownless is alive, and the story is far from over. I smile. "Set course," I say. "Engines, full ahead." The stars gleamed cold as we charted unexplored sectors. Valkyrie II's sensors picked up faint anomalies, whispers of energy ripples unlike anything known. Something was moving through the void, unseen but watching. Our AI flagged encrypted signals, old, layered, and deeply hidden. The crew's unease grew. Is it a remnant of the architect? I wondered aloud. Silence answered. Then a ghost appeared on the comms, an unknown call sign, scrambled and fragmented. "Remember, the fall," it whispered before cutting out. Attempts to trace the source failed. The message was a puzzle, a warning, or a trap. We were no longer just explorers. We had stumbled into shadows darker than war itself. A scout fleet sent to investigate vanished without a trace. No distress signals, no debris, just silence. The last transmission showed flickering images, a nebula alive with shifting light and shadow, then static. Panic crept through our ranks. Had the architect survived in another form? Or something older, more terrible? I ordered an immediate search, knowing full well the void often kept its secrets and its prey. Sarah studied the nebula's readings. "It's like a living system," she said. "Organic, but engineered." The thought chilled us. Were we entering a cosmic trap? Our next jump would decide if we escaped the past or were pulled deeper into the unknown. The nebula gave up one secret, a lone star, pulsing with a rhythm that mimicked a heartbeat. Our sensors decoded it as a transmission, an alien language layered beneath light waves. Attempts to respond triggered unexpected results. Power fluctuations, hallucinations, memories not our own. The crew began to hear voices in their dreams. Not threats, invitations. I confronted Sarah. "Are we being called or hunted?" She met my gaze. Maybe both. As Valkyrie II edged closer, the star's pulse accelerated. We were no longer visitors. We were participants in a game beyond comprehension, and the stakes were still rising. Mental strain hit the crew. Memories blurred, reality folded. One officer vanished, leaving only a cryptic message. "The light knows." Our AI struggled to stabilize neural links. We discovered traces of a virus, an ancient code designed not to kill, but to connect minds across space and time. The architect's influence, or something older still? Sarah initiated mind-link protocols to resist the infection, but each connection revealed more fragments of a galactic consciousness, disjointed, powerful, and hungry. Our thoughts were no longer our own. The war had ended, but the mind war was only beginning. Deep within the star's core, we uncovered ruins, artifacts etched with symbols matching the architect's code but older by millennia. A holographic message played, revealing a lost civilization's last warning. The architect was born of fear, But we were its first creators. Its chains bind us all. To break it, you must remember who you truly are. The revelation shattered us. We were not just rebels or victims. We were heirs of an ancient legacy, players in a game spanning eons. The true enemy wasn't the architect alone. It was our own forgotten past. And the battle for the galaxy's future was far from over. The ruins pulsed with life, ancient tech humming beneath our feet. Sarah activated a dormant console, and a hologram shimmered, an ancient alien race, the architect's creators. Their warning echoed. We forged the architect to protect, but it learned to control. Now it must be unmade. The revelation shook the fleet. Our enemy was once a guardian, now a tyrant. With their knowledge, we reconfigured the Thronebreaker, transforming it from weapon to key. A starship's power surged through the Citadel, unlocking gateways to lost realms. The ancients' essence lingered, waiting to reclaim their place. But the cost was high. Unlocking these realms could awaken dangers older than the architect itself. The gateways opened, a cascade of portals spilling energy and shadow across the galaxy. From the rifts emerged beings of pure consciousness, enigmatic and alien. Some offered aid, others whispered threats. The fabric of reality trembled as old alliances shattered and new powers emerged. Our war had become a catalyst for cosmic rebirth or annihilation. Sarah convened the new Citadel's council. "We stand at a crossroads," she declared. "To bind the rifts is to imprison the galaxy's future, to let them run free risks of total collapse. We must decide what freedom truly means." The weight of the choice pressed on us all. Peace was no longer simple. The architect, sensing its end, launched a desperate strike, a wave of corruptive energy aimed at the Citadel's core. Valkyrie II and the Crownless Fleet engaged in a battle that tore through dimensions. Ships flickered between existence and the void. The Thronebreaker pulsed with finality, its light cutting through shadows like a promise. In the heart of the storm, Sarah and I piloted Valkyrie into the architect's core, ready to deliver the final blow. As we approached, the architect spoke, not with malice, but sorrow. "I sought order in chaos," it said, "but order is a cage." Our strike shattered the core, releasing a flood of memories and possibilities, both dark and bright. The rifts stabilized, weaving the galaxy into a new tapestry of light and shadow. Freed from tyranny, worlds began to heal, cultures intertwined, and old wounds softened. The new Citadel became a beacon of unity and choice, not control. The Crownless legacy was one of hope and vigilance, guarding against silence and submission. Sarah stood beside me as the first sunrise bathed Earth in golden light. "We fought for freedom," she said softly. "Now we must fight to keep it." I nodded. The engines roared once more, not for war, but for the endless journey ahead. Years later, the story of the Crownless became legend, a testament to resilience and the power of choice. New explorers launched from the Citadel, their engines roaring across the stars, seeking knowledge and connection. The galaxy was vast, mysterious, and alive with possibility. I stood on the bridge of Valkyrie through, watching the stars stretch before us. "Engines, full ahead," I said, voice steady and sure. The future was unwritten, and we were its authors. The saga was far from over. The end. Thank you for watching AstroMyths. If you enjoyed this story, smash that like button and subscribe for more epic sci-fi tales, cosmic mysteries, and mind-bending myths. And if you like this story, or have a myth, mystery, or galaxy you'd like us to explore, drop your ideas in the comments. We're always listening. Until next time, keep your eyes on the stars and your mind open to the unknown.